You're listening to PM Tonga with John Pulu.
Ho eke ha'amata pule. It's coming up to 5:30 and you're listening to Radio 531 PI. Koe whainga maari e koula koe ni. I'm very honoured to have this young man, Andrew Lavulavu, join us right now. Andrew, malo e tau mau e whiawhini.
Malole, John, and malole, kainga tonga.
Taritari whiawhia koe he Polokalama. We welcome you on our Polokalama this afternoon because you are the director of the social enterprise Home Ownership Pathway, and this was established in 2017 to provide pastoral care, support and financial capability services for first-time home buyers. And so far, the impacts of a Home Ownership Pathway movement has enabled hundreds directly, indirectly as well, thousands of families to achieve home ownership right across Aotearoa. Andrew, congratulations on the work that you're doing. Tell us how this came about, how this idea and why the need to have something like this to help Pasifika.
Yeah, it's probably been about 10 years now, close to 10 years since I left the corporate world. My previous career was in IT technology, so worked for an American company up on the North Shore there, working with technology products, and had budgets of 12 to 14 million. But when I came into this space, I easily could refer, and we could easily go to Pacifica health providers, Pacific Business Trust, education, the Pacifica Māori providers in the education. And there was a real missing silo there for home ownership. So we had mortgage brokers, obviously, out in the commercial world. Then we had budget advisors, but what was really lacking, and also we had at that time Housing New Zealand, was some kind of pathway program to take our people just from the basics all the way through to the transaction. And so what I found with a lot of the families I'm working with and starting this program, predominantly Pacifica and Māori families, who are hard-working kainga out there, blue-collar workers, good income, 40 to 60 hours a week, and they just didn't have the time or the knowledge on how to navigate this, what is a puzzle, a maze. And as we see now, more recently, the industry is totally changing. The bank rules are changed. The property prices go up and go down, and we're just left with confusion. If we just read the news and watch the news, watch the news and read the newspapers, most of us would probably give up altogether. So by providing this service in this niche space, so it's going to be almost 10 years now that I've been doing this. What I found is, some of the families I work with now, it's taken us at least 5 years to transact. And now, more recently, it's been another, how would I say it, roller coaster of trying to keep the home. So there's two or three key families I look after. One is the first home buyer, which is, your graduates going into the workforce. Most of our families who are working hard, blue-collar workers, the first home buyers, maybe they're renting, maybe they're all staying with mum and dad, or, and so that's the first niche. 80% of our families are first home buyers. So those are the ones that we take on a pathway. The second lot of people we work with are existing homeowners. So these are families that maybe mum and dad bought a home in the 70s, 80s when they came to New Zealand, and now we're looking to transition that home as the parents retire or are not working. So we then try to keep that home in the family, especially here in Auckland. For example, suburbs like Ponsonby, Grey Lynn, where I'm a big believer in keeping our assets for our next generation. The whole premise behind Home Ownership Pathway is creating this asset. Yes, there are other asset classes we can go after. We can either just contribute a KiwiSaver and then retire on our KiwiSaver, or we can buy an asset, a home that might go up. Historically, it's gone up over the last 25, 30 years, and we'll leave that asset to the children. So yeah, as I said, I'm a big believer in keeping the asset and selling as the last resort. But hey, obviously we've got a lot of Pacifica, awesome real estate agents out there that we work with. So, when I talk about the program or the pathway, working with professionals all the way through. So making sure that we're engaging with lawyers, reputable lawyers, get a fixed fee for their work, builders, real estate agents. So making sure that we're coordinating the team to get basically the result is to go unconditional for our families. So so first home buyers are the first segment we look after, and existing home buyers are the second one. So existing home buyers, more recently, when I talk about that roller coaster, it has been really hard with house prices coming down, and obviously LVRs mean that we're unable to, especially in the non-bank space, move families with low LVR criteria for lending. So it's hard work in saving the family home, really. So if any families are in that kind of position, really just reach out to us. We can work with the banks, work with lenders. We work with 16 different lenders. We know the criteria. We know what's charitable in terms of when you're heading down that. We just had a story about a person who lost their home after 2.5 years working with the bank on the news. But we know how to work with the banks if you're in that position. So reach out to us. We're obviously qualified mortgage advisors and based here in Auckland. So
it really is a blessing to have people like yourself, Andrew, and your team who are there to help our kāinga, especially the first home buyers and especially those who are existing home owners and then, might be facing a bit of difficulty. What are you most proud of in this line of work that you do? I'm sure there are many stories, but I guess, it can, like you said, it's a roller coaster, but what are you proud of, when you do this kind of work?
I know our families are hard workers. I know we're good at our jobs, and a whole generation of our people are really good at their jobs, and being able to navigate what's a real complex, the financial services. Basically, I'm offering a Rolls Royce service for that market of people who would have been left behind. And so when I meet up with families that I've been working with for over 9 to 10 years now, and we're now having a chat about buying an investment property or looking after their children who have just graduated or going into the workforce, that's where the real satisfaction comes from me. So, but also, it's a challenging role. It's a niche area. We're qualified mortgage advisors. It's such a intense, unforgiving kind of environment when you're out there trying to obtain a mortgage, and then when you've got one, trying to keep a mortgage. So dealing a lot with different lenders, the criterias, and basically trying to fit our families into those criterias and look at ways that, hey, maybe we bring on another person, maybe we form a family trust. There's so many ways to skin a cat, and that really gives me satisfaction on a monthly basis when I'm working with families and we're getting that result. So one thing that I'm really proud of is, most of the people that we work with, we don't give up. I know that other mortgage brokers or advisors, if it's too hard, if it's in the too hard basket, see you later, go sort it out yourself, kind of thing. And that's the attitude, only because of the industry. It's a commission-driven industry, and so so I'm more proud of that. Never give up attitude, and fighting for the families, especially the ones that could have lost a house or could have never even bought a house.
Oh, yes.
That's really gets me out of bed every day.
Well, malo e ngau e lahi, ko Andrew Lavulavu ni Andrew Lavulavu is our guest speaking to us. Ho eki pia moe kainga koe tawhako ke ni ai mata pule I he tawhako ni ngau koe ni he tawhako mō kisi, mortgage broker. Pia ngi toko ni ki he ni koe ni uku whakaukau ke whakatau hanau ngahi api, uluaki api, their first home. Pia koe toko ni ki he ni koe ni uku iai nau ngahi api nofu anga pia wai pe whoki. E taime wai whanki palpare ma ngahi mea pehe oku lawa toko ni ki ai Aotearoa. You mentioned, Andrew, earlier you offer the Rolls Royce. I thought you were going to offer the radio a Rolls Royce for a moment. We got excited there. But that's a great service, and that just goes to show your commitment. You offer so much to help our kāinga, and as you mentioned, you don't give up. If there are people listening, who do you want, in terms of our listeners right now, who would you like to contact your team if they are in the position of buying a home or maybe experiencing some issues at the moment that they need some help with? What's your message?
Yeah, I mean, if you're working, most of us go to work and we earn an income and we pay the bills. But in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we've got an opportunity to buy a home. Whakatau api. In Tonga, most of us, some of us, we have our land, and we've always kind of had that idea of the land's always going to be there. But in New Zealand, there's an opportunity where you can move from, renting privately or renting off the government into ownership. So if you're going to go to work, and most of us are hard workers. I know some of the families I'm working with, 20, 30 years in the same job. Let's get a result from all that hard work. So working families, get in touch with us. Let's put a plan in place. And it could be something simple that, if you're working really hard, 60 hours a week, and you didn't know, something simple like getting on a 10% KiwiSaver contribution rate. Could be working, that could save you 2 years. So so first time buyers, anyone working, let's design that plan, get a pathway together. Let's understand what areas we need to focus in on, and get to the point where we can actually transact. So that's first home buyers. Second, existing homeowners, maybe there's an opportunity where you can pass on your home to your children, and maybe we could look at using the equity to help your children buy a first home. Another way is a family trust, obviously involving lawyers and getting everyone involved that way. So that's one. So people who own homes, and also if you're struggling a bit in terms of your finances and budget, and you want to keep the family home, get in touch with us so we can, work that plan, keep the home, make sure the bills are paid. The third area, lot of people is probably investors and small business owners. Because we deal with lots of banks, we deal with lending, and we can do debt consolidation and business loans and that kind of stuff. So, getting everyone at the end of the day, we're getting everyone onto the point where they keep, buying a first home or keeping their existing home. There are ways or solutions out there that will help you go forward. And one of the things I always said, and no question's a dumb question. And working with someone like myself, I was born in Wellington. I was shipped off to Vava'u as a young baby. I lived in, my grandma's from Ofu, and my granddad, his family's from Lape. He's a Lavulavu, and I was born and raised, I was raised and spent most of my time in Te Whisi, Te Lao. So, memories, fond memories of just walking down to the water and going to the toilet and enjoying the water and that kind of stuff in the bottle. But hey, so if you're going to be working, if you're working, earning an income, let's get a plan in place, get on the pathway, get in touch with us, and let's get into your own house here in Aotearoa, so you got a base or something to pass on to your children.
Ho'e ki pia moe kāinga, that was Andrew Lavulavu, the founder and director of Home Ownership Pathway. Their phone number 0980111340 or info@homeownership.org.nz. O whalahi atu ki a koe Andrew Lavulavu, mā loe ngā me hena. Take care.